Just like that, 1 p.m. on the dot, Central Standard Time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Prowess Live, where we come at you every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central, and we're telling you OBM know-how and what you need to know to really create the best online business manager business that you possibly can. So today, Leah and I are like, what do we talk about right after a big workshop that we just did? So we just did our OBM opportunity workshop where we help women learn what an OBM is and how they can create this life for themselves, that they're just going above and beyond. So we're like, we kept hearing over and over again the same roadblocks over and over and over again. And so we want to outline those. But as always, to get things started, put into chat the answer to this question. What do you do to psych yourself up? What do you do to psych yourself up? What do you do? Can't wait to see these comments. What do you do to psych yourself up? Some examples. There are 2 or 3 songs that I listen to while I'm putting my makeup on. And yes, okay, Christina, same. Blast my favorite upbeat music. Turn music on. Ooh, music is a big thing. I think we need like a Prowess OBM playlist where it's all of our favorite songs that we can jam to. So before we have a big meeting or before we're like doing a project, we blare our own music. I really like this. Music that is big. Not sure how to explain it. Okay, OBM playlist. We're making it happen. If we have a volunteer for that, that'd be even better. Because I just had a conversation with Leah where I said, Leah, we need you to stop doing half the things that you're doing. Okay, thank you. Put my hair up. Oh my gosh, I love that so much, Carrie. Maybe Leah, we need to bring back our Prowess hair ties too. Amazing. So you'll understand why I am bringing all of this up in a second. So who am I? Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. At Prowess Project, we help women who are pivoting in their careers or returning to become online business managers. And then as they're going through the training, we're gathering hundreds of data points on them to match them up with their ideal clients. So top 3 common roadblocks that we're going to chat about today. Number one, and this one, y'all, I heard this over and over and over and over and over and over again. People are overestimating what you need to do to get clients. I'm going to say it again. They're overestimating what you need to do to get clients, especially when you're at the beginning, right? Especially at the beginning. Because I kept hearing things like, oh, I don't know social media, or oh, I don't know how to do my own website, or oh, I don't know like how to get my own X, Y, and Z started, or this and that started. No. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. All you need to do at the super core of it is talk to people. And don't get me wrong, I know that's super scary. But all you need to do is talk to people. Start conversations with, do you need X or help with X, right? And X is, again, what your offer. No, they don't? Okay. Do you know someone who does? Yes or no? Let's say they say no. Then you say, hey, now this is what I'm doing. Who do you know that I should speak to next? Simple. It's all about how many people that you're talking to. It's all about how many people that you're talking to. Because remember, y'all, to have a full stack of clients, you need maybe 4, right? You're not like Deloitte. You don't need millions, if not billions of dollars coming in. No, you need 4 clients. You just start with 1. That one's the hardest, right? So what you need to be doing is talking to people, understanding what their problem is, and then asking them to introduce you to other people. And what I have heard that I absolutely loved, and I do it myself, and I have to give big, big, big props to Shoshana French. If you don't know who that is, definitely check her out. She is an intuitive business coach. And so she helps mainly nine figure founders use their intuition to make decisions. It's amazing. Well, for some weird reason, she wanted to have a conversation with me. Not quite at 9 in revenue yet, but I was talking to her about just some of the problems that we're having, and she's like, "Well, what are you doing to solve that?" And I was telling her, and she's like, "Sounds like you're darning socks." Had y'all heard this phrase before? Give me a thumb or yes or thumbs up or something or no if you haven't. Had you heard this before? Her name again, Shoshana French. We're gonna have her on our live show. She's amazing. Have you heard of darning socks? Okay. Basically, okay, yeah, okay, good. Basically, what it means for people like me who had no idea what that means is back in the day, you didn't just go throw out your socks and buy new socks. You fixed them. You sewed them back, right? Like you darned them, which meant like you are fixing them, sewing them back together. Okay. But what ended up starting to happen was people, instead of doing all the different things that they know they should be doing, they would start darning socks because it was easy. It was like a quick dopamine hit to stitch up all the holes. And then it was, okay, great. We have a brand new sock again. So she asked me, Ashley, what in your business are you doing that's darning your socks? What part in our business am I doing that feels good, feels like I'm being productive, but in actuality isn't moving the business forward at all? And I loved that. And I sat there and I thought about that for a really long time. And for me, it's picking apart our social media. Like I'll look on there and be like, oh God, I really think the design should be. That's silly. That's silly. There's so many other things that I should be doing. So I'm curious, all of you who are listening, what is your version of darning socks? What do you do to keep yourself busy thinking that you are building your business when really you know you need to be out talking to people? I'm curious. And you may not know yet, and that's okay too. Learning more. Oh my gosh, Jennifer. Yes, that is so, so, so good. Making a spreadsheet look pretty. Oh, I love that one. Yes, yes, yes. See, these are great ones. You're doing research, right? Well, are you really doing research or are you just avoiding what you need to go do? The tech shiny object syndrome. Exactly, Tracy. Over editing. Fantastically. Yes, that's exactly it. That is darning socks. And I want to first actually I'm gonna pause there for a second. Yes, these are all fantastic. So remember, make that a trigger. When you start over editing, when you start making the spreadsheet look pretty, when you start doing content creation, right? When you start learning more, you are darning socks. Go do what you need to go do. And with that, I am bringing up the amazing Leah Steinkirk for her take on overestimating what you need to do to get clients.
Well, first of all, I love the darning socks analogy because I think that is very much the OBM brain, that we have all of these checklists or all these things we think it's the should, right? Like we should all over ourselves. We think we should have the best website out there before we can go say, we think that's proving our relevance versus actually the conversation that we have. We think we should have the business card. We should have the LinkedIn profile. I'm guilty of all of this. But what I think contributes to that is we have lots of voices in our head, right? I've referenced like it's the mean girl inner critic. Well, I think I have there's like a party of like 15 in there, right? The one that's judging my website and the one that's judging my LinkedIn, like all of that. And so sometimes it's really quieting that, getting really quiet and being like, what is the most important thing to do? Like you're saying, Ashley, to move the needle. And that's putting the word out there and the one impactful thing. So whether that is completing that proposal you said you were going to get over in 24 hours, do it. And then the mean girl voice is going to pop up and say, really, should I hit send? Should I look it over? Should I align everything one more time in Canva? And you need to hit send, right? It's making ourselves take that action to move the needle forward. And sometimes I think that's also that we're comparing ourselves to what else we see out there. And it's not really serving us, right? So it's like, get off of Instagram, put it down, and just focus on what you need to do and take that action today. So, I mean, because I love the checklist. And so sometimes I have to make the checklist that's like my big sister made it for me. And it might be a little blunt, like, you're going to get these 3 things done today. Because that's what you need to be at peace when I go and check out and I'm with my family, get this done. And so it's like committing to that checklist that is action driven, and think about it as revenue generation, right? You need the money to come in. What are the 3 things you have to do it? And then I also think that when we're in this state, we have to rely on our EQ skills. And sometimes we just need to be really good listeners, right? So Ashley's talking about, like, go out and have those conversations. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just be listening, summarizing back to them, and you're going to see the aha moments happen. And we can rely on other tools like taking notes, or like if it's a phone call, record it or use an AI reader and then go back and reflect on it. But when we can be present and listen, we can really address this kind of overestimating, because we just allow ourselves to get super simple. And just remember, listen, reflect, make an action item.
Yeah, I love that, love that, love that. And something that was coming up for me, and when you were saying just listen, I really believe that as OBMs, the hard, well, no, as entrepreneurs, the hardest part is starting to talk to people about whatever you're doing. And I, as the extreme extrovert that I am, I would get super, super, super nervous about this. Literally could not sleep if I knew that I had an info interview the next day, or could not sleep if I knew I was pitching someone the next day, which isn't even pitching. It's just like having a conversation. So, so, so nervous. And then I flipped the switch. All I was doing was getting free feedback on my business. And I can take that feedback. And if I feel like, okay, yes, that's right, and I can tweak my whatever I'm doing, great. Or I can decide, okay, yeah, that's feedback, that's their thoughts, but they're not my target market. So then I just learned, like, okay, they're not my target. That's cool. I'm not going to go after lawyers anymore, or whatever it is. And so that switch was really helpful too. It is free feedback, free input.
And I'm a big fan too of, like, I force myself to go and have as many conversations as possible, because at some point your brain tips into, this is something I've done before, and becomes natural, right? So I always say, like, if you get offered the interview and you're like, I don't even know if I want to take this, like, go for practice, because eventually you get so confident in how you say it and you're comfortable with what you're going to say. So it can take out some of that inner critic. It can take out the overthinking, really, because you're like, yep, this is how I'm doing it. And this time I just want to add this other part, because that's starting to feel more natural to me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So that is number 1, overestimating what you need to do to get OBM clients. Number 2, being super intimidated when working with clients. We hear this quite a bit. How do I be all these things to this one client who's the CEO, who is making all of this money and doing all of these things and has been on this podcast and on this magazine and like, you're working for big personalities. And so we're hearing over and over and over again how intimidated, in that our online business managers don't feel like they're ready to take on such a big role. But I want to challenge you there, because as a reminder, not only are we hearing from you, but we're hearing from the CEO too on what they think. And I want to remind you that they don't think like you. They don't think like you. So the fact that you can whip out a spreadsheet based on a 5-minute conversation with them is mind-blowing. The fact that you know how to use AI to do X, Y, and Z that is going to speed up, or quite frankly, catapult their business, is mind-blowing to them. So I say all that because what I see happening over and over and over again is both sides, the CEO and the OBM, both are intimidated. Both are intimidated. And when we make those matches, when both of those clients feel a little bit intimidated and that they're a little bit stretching because the other person's such a badass, those are magic. those are magic. So really be thinking about it. If you feel intimidated, lean into that, because that means that you are leveling up. And again, quite frankly, the CEO is probably very intimidated too. When both sides feel lucky, that is a home run. Absolute home run. Let's see if there's, and I think and I'm going to go back to like talking to people, right? That's another reason why we're really trying to funnel as much feedback as we can possibly get from the CEOs to our prowess OBMs, because it is only going to help them in their next conversation, in their next pitch, make their offer this much better, et cetera, et cetera. And that is so incredibly important. Leah, any thoughts on being intimidated of working with clients?
Well, I agree with you on the leaning in, because I do think that when we're intimidated, it probably means that we're also inspired, right? If it's intimidation because this reminds me of something I did, like a negative experience, it's okay to like pull back from that and say that's not in alignment. But if you realize that you're intimidated because that's so exciting and I would want to be doing the best job possible, and this is, oh my gosh, this person, like it's like meeting your heroes type energy, that's where you want to go, right? That's what you're saying, who you want to work for, who you want to help elevate out in the world. So it's reminding yourself that you're probably, it's I always say, like, I read this, that anxiety and excitement, or fear and excitement, kind of do the same things in our body, right? So when we're feeling intimidated, is it actually because we're so inspired, right? And so figuring that out. And then I always say, like, just have your process. And I'm going to preach this of like practice and practice, but also if you have like what you do on a regular basis to get back in the zone, or to feel confident, or to be on that call, even though you're intimidated, like you have your set checklist of questions to go to, you have your process, you have your schedule for follow-up, like make it a process that you can keep yourself accountable to. And then that way you get to be excited and you still know that your outcome is going to be strong.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Love it. I'm going to pause there before we go to number 3. Any questions that are coming up for people? If so, put them in the chat, please.
Or Jennifer, strategies that you have, like that's always helpful to other people too.
Yes. And I love Jennifer's death by a million shoulds. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Real life post-it on my monitor says, "You are a CEO too." You are, Natalie. That is a great one. Oh, so good. You are. Congrats. Oh, love that. Love that. Love that. All right. So we talked about 1 and 2. Number 1 was overestimating what it takes to get clients. Just talk to people. And 2, the intimidation of when it comes to working with clients, that feeling that we get so worried. And number 3 is investing in yourself when it comes to time, energy, reps, or money. And so because of the previous things that we were saying, you may not, like, because of those other roadblocks, you may not be investing enough all of those things in order to make yourself successful. So I heard this on another podcast and I really loved it. It's the Game podcast, and the way that he frames any sort of disappointment or any sort of, hey, I didn't make that milestone, or hey, I didn't achieve X, Y, and Z. He sits back and he says, is it reasonable to believe that I could have 4 clients right now? And then he looks at what he did and he was like, I had 10 conversations. Could I have 4 clients by that? The answer is no. The answer is no. Like, that is unreasonable to think after 10 conversations you would have 4 clients. Maybe after 40, maybe after 100. And not to overwhelm you by like, this is such a massive thing. It may not be, but again, is it reasonable? Right? I know y'all love research. Do some research on any type of business on the lead funnel. How many conversations does it take to get to a marketing qualified lead, and then sales qualified lead, and then, a contract, and then signed? So again, is it reasonable? Is it reasonable? I really want you to think about that. So if it's not, what do you need to be doing in order to make it reasonable? And by making it reasonable, by doing all of those efforts and not darning socks, you are investing the time, energy to make it reasonable. I mean, we hear all the time from the people who are investing in themselves, who are taking the time to do stuff, who are putting themselves out there, who are having conversations, who are proudly sharing, I'm an online business manager and this is what I do. I mean, we heard a 3x in their hourly rate, right? We have another one who's doing, I think, 120 an hour. We have another one who's making 100 grand by being an OBM. We have another one who has a wait list of clients, and another one who got a raise for her hourly rate because she put it out there. She was telling more people, and she took the time, money, and energy it takes in order to get there. And I say this because all of these women are just like you. All of them are just like you. They put in the time, the effort, the money. Like, if you think that Leah and I are here without time, money, and effort, you are extremely wrong. We've been doing this for 5 years. So if you've been doing it for 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 weeks or 5 months, is it reasonable that you would have 5, 6, 7 clients? The answer is no. The answer is no. Leah, thoughts on that?
I think this is such a powerful one. And I think it also comes to, in that, is it reasonable part is, isn't it reasonable in how you're showing up in your day? Because I am very guilty as an OBM of making sure everybody else's stuff is taken care of. And then I'm exhausted to work on any part of my own business. So making sure that that investment part is also in your calendar, like blocking the time. I heard that, I think this was in Elizabeth Gilbert's stuff, that was her sister put a note on the door when she's working that's like, do not enter unless you're on fire. Like, are you telling your family members, like, this is my time, and conserve that so that you can really focus, right? I think the darning socks happens a lot when we have like 15 or 20 minutes and we're filling it in, that we go to these things that are very comfortable and very easy to feel productive. But are we doing the things that are going to make the most impact? And so we have to make sure that calendar is blocked off, do the things for self-care that are going to help our energy stay up, right? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you going to the yoga class, going for the walk, so that you do have the energy to come back to your desk and get things done? So I think the investment is in all of you, the whole person. That's my 2 cents.
I love that. And I also want to share that everyone puts pressure on themselves to have unreasonable timelines. Like, Leah, I think if we looked at our first projections for a prowess project and how much money we thought we would be making by year 4 or 5, I mean, I thought I was going to be at $10 million, like, and Shoshana could be talking to me. But like, it's okay. It's okay. We are learning so much along the way, and it's only going to help you get better and better and better and better.
Well, I was going to say, Ashley, I think that that's actually great, because you do want to keep looking, right? You want to put yourself out there and challenge yourself, right? We don't want to think small. We want to think big, but it's a constant process of tweaking, adjusting, and saying, okay, this might be moved out a couple years.
And you never know what's going to happen. Like, for many of you, being an online business manager, or like having an online business manager agency, or that's maybe not the end goal, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you may learn, okay, this is amazing, and now I want to go be a fractional COO, or this is amazing, and I really like being experts in this type of technology. I'm going to go be a expert who gets paid crazy amount of money to go figure out how to implement this technology. I mean, there are so many branches from being an online business manager, which is why I love that so many women start there. So it really depends on the horizon that you're looking at, right? Are you looking again, in the next 5 weeks? Are you looking at the next 5 years? Are you looking at the next 10 years? Like, what is success and how are you measured that way? I will also say that I am very grateful that we have gone through the highs and the lows of Prowess Project, because now we are able to intimately talk about that and help y'all and been there and be like, hey, don't do this, 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 and this. And here are resources for A, B, C, and D, right? So we really, really, really appreciate all of these roadblocks. So also consider looking at that way too. All right. So we talked about the 3 roadblocks, and there's one more thing that I want to say because it is November 15th. Because it is November 15th. The amount of people that I spoke to who said, I will get started in January. I will get started next year. Totally reasonable. Everyone has their focus. Everyone has their priorities. I completely understand that. And for the people who are getting started before then, it is a very good head start to start now, because then you can really hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. We've been doing this for a while now, and we see a crazy influx of employers who come to us second, third week of January. Every time. Every time. And why is this? This is not going to surprise y'all, but they made all these plans in November and December. Plans for next year. And January 1 hits, and they're like, oh shit, I need to get all of this stuff done that I was going to plan for the rest of the year, right? Or then there's some people who are just like, I'll put off hiring till after the holidays. I'm not focused, and I'm taking 2 weeks. And so they just didn't want to think about it. Also perfectly fine. But then all of a sudden they need someone yesterday. Or in bigger companies, smaller companies too, that's when budgets open up again. So it's like, okay, now I have X amount for Q1 for support. And so again, like I said, our recommendation is to get ahead of it. And we're actually seeing a lot of employers this year, which is different from last year, come to us November saying, hey, I want someone to get started on December 1st so that they can ramp all of December. And then January, we are flying. So it's interesting how I'm seeing that shift on that. Anything else, Leah, on that one?
No, I think that's such a great point, is that I'm just thinking of it as the OBM brand. This is what you're helping people do. And so by being able to raise your hand, put it out there that this is what you're doing, you're meeting their mindset and their pain point right now. It's because they're in that moment of like, is it too late? And you can say, nope, let's get started.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Any questions? Any questions? As always, it has been absolutely wonderful to talk through some of the roadblocks that we see and we hear all the time. And all of these are shattered. All of these are shattered. Go talk to people. Number one, I love what Rich said. Never underestimate how nervous the other person is, right? The person you are interviewing with or the person you're having the consult with. Never underestimate it. I love that. And then number 3, investing in yourself, whether it's time, money, energy. What does that look like? Have boundaries around that, and why now? So people can hit the ground running in January. All right, for those in the US, we have Thanksgiving next week, so we will be taking a pause, but we will be back that last week of November. Same time, same place. All right, y'all. Catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.